Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So a little over 5 months ago I uploaded my first video, and since then I uploaded 24 more, so 25 in total. It's not a lot, but here's a compilation of my first 25 videos.
By now, you probably have seen the iconic Mazda 787B that won the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans. But have you ever wondered how and why they won? At just 830 kilograms, the Mazda was the lightest car on the grid, 200 kilograms lighter than its competitors, all thanks to its lightweight engine and newly designed chassis. Mazda fixed the rotary engine reliability issues with mods like ceramic apex seals, 3-spark plug, and a variable intake manifolds for consistent power band, originally producing 900 horsepower, detuned to 700 for reliability. Starting at the back of the grid due to new rules, despite this, Mazda fuel efficiency and lightweight design pushed to 4th place. When the top cars broke down, Mazda took 1st place and win the 1991 Le Mans.
What will happen when Porsche build a race car with zero limits? You get this, a Porsche 919 Evo, a car so fast it rewrote history. Originally, the Porsche 919 was built for Le Mans under strict regulation. But after Porsche left endurance racing in 2017, they threw the book away and unleashed the 919 Evo. Freed from regulation, Porsche boosted the hybrid power to 1,160 horsepower by removing fuel restrictors and enhancing the electric power unit. It shed 86 kilograms by removing various things that would be required for a 24-hour race, active aero and side skirt producing 53% more downforce than an F1 car, and a torque vectoring braking system paired with custom Michelin tires. It shattered a 35-year-old record set by another Porsche at the Nürburgring. It went 5 minutes and 19.55 seconds, beating the old record by almost a minute. Now what made that other Porsche hold the previous record for so long? Would you believe me if I told you that this 1993 F1 car suspension is much more advanced than today's F1 car? This is the Williams FW15C. It is considered to be one of the most technologically advanced race car at the time. Unlike traditional suspension, the FW15C hydraulic active suspension could automatically adjust the car height during a race in real time. This technology ensured the car stayed perfectly balanced no matter the track conditions. It works by using sensors to detect the track surface, constantly adjusting the suspension to optimize grip, aerodynamics, and stability, giving the FW15C a significant edge over its competitors. With this system, paired with traction control, ABS, and more, the car could tackle corners at higher speed, maintain stability under braking, and absorb bump without losing performance.
We've already talked about the Porsche 919 Evo, in which Porsche allowed its racing team to make a car to go around a circuit as fast as possible without rules. But you can't really compete with it. I mean, sure, it breaks many track records, but do you know what Porsche should have done? Bring it to Pikes Peaks, where teams are allowed to create monsters to climb up a 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado. This is part 1 of my series Motorsport You May Not Know. There's a few safety rules like 6-point harness, roll cage, and blah blah blah. These little rules allow teams to make monsters. From this multi-million-dollar Volkswagen Li to this diesel swap GTR. And it's crazy. Cars look completely different from each other. You should go check it out yourself. This car is so fast it can break your bones. This is the Group C Toyota TS010, also known as the Bone Crusher. But how did it break the driver's bone? You see, Toyota was testing the car at the Eastern Creek Raceway when both driver Andy Green and Hitoshi suffered broken ribs. The car weighed 750 kilograms, 50 kilograms lighter than today's F1 car. It produced 3.3 tons of downforce at 305 kilometers per hour. It has a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V10 engine producing around 600 horsepower. So what caused the driver to break their bones? You see, the car produced so much downforce that it could go through turn 1 at wide open throttle, right after the longest straight. But there's a little bump in the middle of the corner, and for most cars, it's not really a problem. But the bump made the car lose grip and regain it back in a split second, which caused a G-force spike, and that's how it broke the driver's bone. This is one of the most dangerous races to ever exist, the Isle of Man TT. This is part 2 of my series Motorsport You May Not Know. It's an annual race held on a small island between England and Ireland. Riders ride across the island, going around a 60.7 kilometer course with 264 turns in total, navigating through normal public roads, through town, villages, and challenging mountain terrains, with an average speed well over 250 kilometers per hour. While it's undoubtedly the most exciting race to watch, it is one of the most dangerous races to ever exist. From 1907 to today, over 250 riders had lost their lives. But if you look closely, there's no ambulance, just mountain and terrains. So how did they rescue riders in case of a crash? Look at this. It is sidecar racing, and look at the passenger. They're throwing their body around using nothing but their body weight, shifting the center of gravity to go around corners at insane speed. These 4-stroke 1000cc monsters can go up to 260 km per hour. They also run flat tires that you would typically find on a race car. Just like in rallying, it requires an insane amount of trust between the rider and the passenger. These two have to be perfectly in sync or the bike will throw off balance and they might miss the corner or even worse, crash. They race circuits all over the world, including the Isle of Man TT, which we've talked about in the previous video. This is supercar racing. Also known as the Aussie Supercar or the V8 Supercar. It is considered to be one of the most exciting racing series in the world. It is an international touring car racing series primarily based in Australia and New Zealand. They race circuits like the Albert Park circuits, the Eastern Creek Raceway. It is also where the Toyota ST0 was tested, where I broke 2 drivers' ribs, which we talked about in the previous video, and you should go check it out. I mean, I'm just saying. And one of my favorite tracks of all time, the Mountain Panorama. The car are based on the Corvette Camaro ZL1 and the Ford Mustang GT. Although it's based on consumer muscle cars, they are a purpose-built 600 horsepower skinny-tired race car with minimal downforce. Combine that with no ABS and traction control. This combination of high-power engines and low-grip tires makes it extremely hard to put the power down without spinning the tire. And throw 24 of these monsters into one track, you get one of the wildest, most action-packed race you've ever seen. This is Dakar. It's not just a motorsport, it's one of the toughest, most legendary endurance challenge on earth. Operating in 1979 as Paris-Dakar Rally, it now spans thousands of kilometers across desert, dunes, and extreme terrains like in Saudi Arabia. The Dakar Rally routes is not the same every year, it's changed annually, and the rally has held in various locations, including Africa, South America, and currently Saudi Arabia. Competitors push themselves and their cars, bikes, and trucks to the absolute limits. It's not just about speed, it's about navigation, resilience, and surviving the unforgiving element. Every year, the car tests the boundaries of human determination and engineering excellence, capturing the spirits of adventure and the thrill of the unknown. It's not just a race, it's a battle of willpower and nature itself. By now, you probably have heard the term money shift. Now, in cars term, instead of making money every shift, you lose money. Like, a lot. Basically what happens is when you're already in high gear, say 4th or 5th gear, and then instead of shifting up higher gear while accelerating, you shift down on accident, of course. And then your engine RPM shoots straight up above red line, destroying the engine in process. And that is money shift. Very simple. Very expensive. We all know that DRS make the car go faster in a straight line, but here's what most people don't know. DRS, or drag reduction system, let the driver open the flap of the rear wing, reducing air resistance or drag, giving a speed boost up to 15 km per hour. Except for Red Bull and McLaren, that thing is different. Basically what happens when DRS is enabled, the top wing moves up, letting air move more easily, therefore reducing resistance, therefore more speed. And the wing is tilted upward by a hydraulic actuator with a press of a button on the steering wheel. But it's not always available. Drivers can only use it in DRS zone and only if they're within 1 second behind the car they're following. Introduced in 2011, it is designed to promote overtaking and make racing fair. Also, no DRS in the first 2 laps or in the rain. And that's DRS. Very simple. Do you know that this clever innovation is the reason why DRS exists? In 2010, Formula 1 teams discovered a loophole that can make their car go faster in a straight legally. The F-duct was first introduced by McLaren. It is used to reduce drag and giving a speed boost up to 10 km per hour. Basically, the original DRS. But instead of activating by a button on the steering wheel, it is activated by the driver's arm or hand. So how does it work? So when the F-duct is not being used, the air coming from the F-duct is just gonna blow inside the cockpit, and the air from the top duct is just gonna blow down here. So when the driver covers a hole, the air coming from the F-duct is just gonna rush up here, pushing the air from the top duct through this hole over here, which is gonna go to the rear wing. So when the air goes through the tunnel, it would go under the wing, stalling it by relieving negative pressure under the wing. So why was banned? Well, it's because of safety reasons. Many teams are modifying their already existing chassis, whereas McLaren designed their cars for the F-duct. McLaren drivers just need to move their arm a little bit to activate the system while keeping both hands on the steering wheel. But some other teams' drivers are sometimes found removing their hands off the steering wheel at high speed, and many consider it's a safety hazard, so it was banned the year after. And the reason why it's called the F-duct is because of the duct just so happened to be right on top of the letter F of the sponsor Vodafone, and that's the F-duct. Very simple. Ever seen these panels that pop up on a NASCAR roof when they spin? They're like secret trapdoor that prevent the car from becoming an airplane. Picture this, you're in the 90s and cars are getting way too fast. I mean, sure, it's exciting, but when things go the wrong direction, like literally when they go in the wrong direction, they will start flying. So what exactly happened? So when the car is moving at the correct direction, the geometry of the car is designed in such a way that when air flows on top of the car,
it creates a high pressure air on top, and the air going under the car is accelerated, creating negative pressure, which sucks the car down, and that is downforce. And when the car is pointing at the wrong direction, air can go under the car, which create high pressure air, and the air going over the car will get accelerated, creating negative pressure, which lifts the car up. At over 250 km per hour, it's enough to lift a 1.5 ton car up in the air. It's a Camaro, if you can't tell. The solution? Roof flaps. They're panels that pop up automatically when low pressure air sucks them open. So when the flaps are open, it will prevent the air going on top of the car from accelerating, which create low pressure air. This way, it will keep the car on the track. Surprisingly, there's no complicated system that activates it when needed. It's simply just negative pressure that sucks it open, breaking the airflow. Introduced in 1994, with larger version in 2007, an improvement in 2013 that enhanced their effectiveness. And that's it. No electronic, no gyro input, no buttons, just smart engineering making racing safer. When you watch open wheel racing, like F1 for example, have you ever noticed that the front wheel don't point in the same direction when turning? Well, that's on purpose, and here's why. So, there's 3 types of steering: parallel steering, Ackerman steering, and anti-Ackerman. So parallel steering is when the 2 front wheel turns the same amount, as you can see by the 2 parallel lines. And one of the most common steering system, Ackerman steering. This is used on almost all of the cars on the road. Ackerman steering is when the inside wheels turn more than the outside wheel, as you can see by the lines. And because of that, there's a meeting point in between the lines of the inside. We use Ackerman steering because in turns, the inside wheels need to make a tighter turns than the outside wheel. This ensures to minimize wear and tear on a tire. This way you can maximize the lifespan of the tire. So, anti-Ackerman. As the name said, it is the opposite of Ackerman steering, which means that the outside wheel turns more than the inside wheel. As you can see by the 2 lines doesn't meet on the inside. Instead, it meets on the outside. So why would you want this? After all, it's only going to increase wear and tear on a tire. They use this because when the car is going through the turns, the centrifugal... Oh god.
Centrifugal.
I have no idea how to say that. The
Centrifugal force
means that the weight of the car is pushed onto the outside, which means that there's more force pressing down on the outside wheels. This way the tire can actually turn more, and the opposite happens on the inside. Since most of the weight is on the outside tire, which means that the inside tire has less force pressing onto the road, so it can only turn a little bit, whereas the outside tire can turn a lot more before it slips. Teams always tweak it depending on the track. Get it wrong and you end up scrubbing and cooking your tire. Get it right, then good for you. This F1 car has 4 pedals. Wait, what? Okay. So we have the gas, the brake, the clutch. Oh, the F1 car have clutch pedals. And what's the 4th? Well, it's another brake pedal, but not just any normal brake pedal. No, it's a special one. And here's how it works. So there's a normal brake that activates on all 4 wheels. Then there is the second brake that activates on only 1 tire. So why would you want that? Picture this, you're going through a very tight corner. So when you press on the second brake, it will only apply onto this tire. Take this P1 for example. When you press on the second brake, the car will actually want to pivot more because this tire is slowing down. This way you can rotate the car more without slowing as much. Initially, it was legal, but it was later banned by the FIA. So McLaren was exposed by a photographer named Darren Heath when he sneaks his camera into the cockpit and captured this photo. While it's not technically 4-wheel steering, which is illegal, the system effectively provides the same advantage in a corner, and other teams pressured the FIA to outlaw it. Imagine the F1 car so fast it was banned after 1 race. Meet the Brabham BT46B, the infamous fan car. In 1978, F1 has strict regulation on aerodynamics, but Brabham's Gordon Murray spotted a loophole. Instead of huge wings, he bolted a big fan on the back of the car. Officially, it was for cooling the engine, but secretly, it's used for creating huge downforce. So how does it work? So, the fan sucks the air under the car, which creates negative pressure, which sucks the car down. So the side of the car is sealed by side skirts that blocks the air from coming in, reducing negative pressure. Unlike a wing, the fan doesn't add any aerodynamic drag to the car. This means it stuck on the track like glue. The faster the fan spun, the more grip it had, even in slow corners. Rivals were furious because it was technically illegal. On his debut in 1978 at the Swedish Grand Prix, Niki Lauda took the fan car an easy victory. 1 week later, it was gone, after only 1 race. Officially, it was disappeared by decision. Unofficially, I think it's just too good. So what do you think? Genius engineering or clever cheating? This is the craziest F1 car ever. And yes, it has 6 wheels. But why would you need 6 wheels? In 1976, Taro thought, what if we shrink the front tire and add 2 more? 4 small tires in the front means less drag because it's more narrow. Also, an extra pair of tire means there's more contact patch, therefore more grip. This also means a total of 6 brakes. This can't distribute all of the braking load. But Goodyear, the tire supplier, wouldn't keep making those special tiny 10-inch tires. And without upgrades, the P34 fell behind. By 1978, it was gone. But still, the Taro P34 proved one thing. F1 isn't just about speed, it's about daring to be different. This 1998 F1 car was so ahead of its time, it got banned before it even raced. The Lotus 88 was Formula One's twin chassis experiment. One for the aero, one for the driver. Brilliant on paper, but never got raced a single lap. You see, in the 1980s, F1 cars started to use ground effect to create huge downforce. But what is ground effect? Take this car for example. You can't see the ground effect, but if we strip the bodywork, you will see something that resembles an airplane wing, but upside down. The simplest term is by manipulating the airflow going under the car, which creates negative pressure, which sucks the car down. And the side skirt would seal the air around the car from coming in. With ground effect, the lower you bring the car to the road, the more downforce you have. But it's very risky because as soon as the bottom of the car touches the road, or the car pitch or rolls under braking, cornering, or accelerating, the ground effect will be disrupted. When this happens, all of the downforce will be lost, and this could happen mid-corner where you need the downforce. So to combat this, teams use really stiff springs. This way you can keep the car ride height consistent so it won't roll or pitch, but with stiffer spring, this creates a huge problem. The vibration from the road will be violent. Drivers would jump inside the car, which makes it hard to see and hard to be consistent using the steering wheel or the pedals. So that means that you need stiff springs for the ground effect, but soft spring for the mechanical grip. You can't have both stiff spring and soft spring at the same time. Or can you? What did Lotus do? Whoa, this drawing is horrible. I wonder who drew that. So Lotus thought, what if we make two chassis, one for the ground effect and one for the engine, the cockpit, and whatever. So we would split the work rather than doing both at the same time, which is like almost impossible. So that's what they did. They made two chassis, one for the ground effect and one for the cockpit and the engine and the tires and wheels. So these two chassis will get sandwiched together and they will do the job individually. So I'm not showing the bodywork, as you can see the missing front and rear wing. So they will mount the chassis for the ground effect to the suspension of the car. This way all of the downforce would go directly into the wheels. They also added some springs to keep the chassis level to the ground. So there's a lot more going on. I just think that it's not worth it to explain it on a short form video. If you wanted to know more, watch a longer video. The Lotus 88 was so clever, it never got the chance to prove it. Ever wondered why some cars feels like they don't want to turn, while other cars feels like they're trying to spin you around? That's the difference between oversteer and understeer. But what's that? So understeer is when the front tires lose grip, you turn the wheel, but the car goes straight. It's like ignoring your controls. So the opposite happened with oversteer. The rear tire loses grip. When you turn, the back of the car steps out, turn too much, and the car wants to spin. Both are about the balance between the front and rear grip. These can cause by too much speed, too much steering, bad weight transfer. The sweet spot, natural handling, where the car does exactly how you ask. But in racing, a little bit oversteer can be magic. I'll tell you why in a separate video. When you watch F1, have you ever wondered what are those sparks coming from the bottom of the car? It looks flashy, but there's a good reason behind it. Those sparks aren't just for show. They prove how low and extreme those machines are. So every F1 car are required by the FIA to run a wooden plank along the bottom of the car, typically around 10mm thick.
Nowadays, it's not actually made from solid wood anymore. It's now typically made from a composite material called permaglass, which is a glass reinforced laminate. And after every race, typically 4 cars that are picked randomly are checked for the plank wear.
And if the plank has less than 9mm, then you're disqualified. So yes, you only have 1mm of wear on the wood plank under the car. So to combat this, teams use small titanium plates that is placed under the car. So this way it will hopefully decrease the amount of wear on the wood plank.
The titanium plate is also used to hold down the wood under the car.
And yes, when the bottom of the car bottoms out, the titanium plate will hit the tarmac and it will create sparks. So next time you see those sparks coming from under the car, you know why. Thank you so much for watching and follow for more. This is the Baja 1000. It's not just your normal race. It's one of the toughest off-road challenge in the world. And the trucks that compete here are absolute monsters. These things aren't built just for looks. They're built to survive the desert. We're talking huge V8 engines making over 800 horsepower, suspension that can travel almost 2 feet, and tires that look like they belong to a tank. Every part of the truck is designed to handle rocks dunes, and the endless rough terrains. And here's the crazy part. It's not just about speed. Drivers spend over 30 hours in the cockpit surviving over heat, dust, and the dark night. The trucks take a beating, but also the teams. That's why the Baja is as much about endurance and teamwork as it is about horsepower. At the end of the day, trophy trucks are more than just race cars. It's proof of what happened when you mix extreme engineering and a fearless driver. And when they cross the finish line, they're covered in dents and desert dust. That's when you realize the Baja 1000 isn't just a race, it's a survival. Formula 1 or IndyCar. They both look like fast rocket ship on wheels, but they're pretty different. Let's break it down. F1 car are a rolling experiment. Every team designed their own parts, aerodynamic, and design. IndyCar, on the other hand, their chassis is designed by Dallara. They also have two engine suppliers, Chevy and Honda. So the racing is more about the driver's skills and strategies rather than mixing it with engineering battles. F1 car run a 1.6-liter V6 hybrid turbo engine. Super complex and packed with all sorts of electrical system for extra power. IndyCar keep it more simple with a 2.2-liter twin-turbo V6
with a hybrid technology that is deployed when overtaking, kind of like DRS.
F1 car is more about efficiency and tech, while IndyCar is more about brute force. F1 sticks with road course like Monaco, Monza, Singapore. IndyCar does that too, but they also do ovals. F1 cars are faster in the corners because of their huge aerodynamic downforce. But in ovals, Indy cars have a higher top speed because of their low downforce. So one dominates in corners and one dominates in straight line speed. So which one is better? Well, it depends on your preference. The Isle of Man TT is the most dangerous road race in the world. At 200 miles an hour, there's no room for error. And for years, rider's first line of emergency is not a helicopter. And with the course over 37 miles long, it would take a lot of time for the doctor to reach the rider in case of emergencies. So what if we put a doctor on a motorcycle and ride with them? And that's what they did. Call sign Delta 7. Dr. John Hines, also known as the Flying Doctor, riding at race pace with a medical bag strapped to his back. He was often the first responders when disaster struck. Started in 2003, he saved countless riders. But in 2015, while riding along the riders, he was tragically involved in an accident. His loss shook the racing communities, but also the emergencies. But his work sparked something greater. Inspired by his legacy, the racing community finally gained what he had campaigned for, a dedicated air ambulance. The call sign, Delta 7, to honor his work. Dr. John may have taken too soon, but his vision lives on. Every time Delta 7 lifts into the air, it's carrying more than medics and gear. It's carrying his legacy. And that's the Flying Doctors. F1 engines aren't just 1,000 horsepower beasts. They're one of the most advanced hybrid in the world. Now, the 1.6-liter V6 turbo alone makes about 830 to 850 horsepower, and the rest comes from the hybrid system. The MGUK, or short for Motor Generator Unit Kinetic, harvests the energy under braking, just like regen braking from electric cars. Stores all that energy into a high voltage battery, and when deployed, it produces around 160 horsepower instantly. The MGUH, or the Motor Generator Unit Heat, is even more insane. It connects directly to the turbochargers. It recovers energy from the hot exhaust, and it's also used for keeping the turbo spooled to eliminate lag. They not only just make the drivetrain more powerful, but more efficient. In fact, the F1 hybrid power unit is pushing over 50% efficiency, way more than a normal car, which is around 30%. So when you hear those vacuum cleaner sounding engine going down the straight at 350 km/h, remember, it's not just the engine, but it's also the hybrid power unit working together. Man, I just wish they bring back the V10s. Like a V8 at least. I mean, just listen to this. When you watch F1, have you ever wondered what is dirty air or slipstream is? You see the commentators talk about it all the time, so let's break it down. When the car pushes through the air, it creates a low pressure air behind it. And when there's another car following behind it, it gets pulled along the stream. This is called slipstreaming or drafting. It reduces the drag, which means the car following can go faster with the same power. That is why you often see cars going behind one another and then slingshot past in the straight. But there's a downside. You see, modern Formula 1 cars rely heavily on aerodynamic. The wings, the diffusers, that rely on clean and undisturbed air to generate downforce. And when you're following a car from behind closely, that clean air is gone. And this turbulent, messy airflow is what drivers call dirty air. It reduces downforce, make the car lose grip and slide in the corners, and also makes the car shake. So slipstreams help you in the straight, and dirty air hurts you in the corners. That is why overtaking is challenging. You're fast in the straight, but you struggle in the corners. And every year, F1 is always improving to make racing closer. So next time you watch F1 and see those cars going behind each other, you know why. Thank you so much for watching, and follow for more.